The Houston Rockets have officially landed the third pick in the 2024 NBA draft. Now, should they keep the pick or trade it? Let's talk about it. What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Summit State of Mind, presented to you by the Apollo Podcast Network. In this episode, we are going to discuss and do our reactions straight up to the Rockets stealing the third pick in the 2024 NBA draft. We're also going to discuss if the Rockets should keep or trade the pick, and if we keep the pick, we're going to discuss our potential favorites for the third overall pick for our Rockets. Of course, as you can see, look around, y'all, I am in studio. And of course, if I'm in studio, I got to be joined by my brother, my co-host, the co-anchor, my big brother from another mother, my oos, the GM, Justin. How you doing, big dog?
I'm good. It's a dreary Monday. It's been raining like crazy today. It's been a little hectic. But you know what? We're here. We made it.
It's sunshines, though.
It's
all sunshines and rainbows for the Rockets.
It's
all
chaos.
sunshines.
It's a collected chaos due to the Rockets just completely spinning and turning around this whole draft lottery with the Atlanta Hawks. Wild stuff.
I low-key wanted that 10th pick now that I think about it, because the Hawks basically went from 10 to 1, which is insane.
That's like a 3% chance.
Yeah. I think it was like I think it was like 3 and under in terms of percentage points.
I think that might be like one of the best, like the lowest percentages of getting up. I mean, the lowest obviously.
No, those was 93 with Penny Hardaway, right?
No, it was Shaq, or was it Penny?
It was Penny.
It was Penny?
Yeah, Shaq was. Yeah, they for sure had the worst odds. Like
the
worst
Chris
odds.
Webber draft.
Yes, the Chris Webber draft. So I thought about kind of how everything had played out, and just for a word of reference, the NBA draft lottery took place on a Sunday afternoon, Mother's Day. So myself and the GM were together. We were spending time with our mom. You know, we're brothers after all, so we're spending time with our mommies.
Yep.
And then you had the NBA draft lottery, and then
we put the drinks down.
Literally enjoyed it.
You know, got to enjoy a good 30 minutes of watching
that was
chaos
fun.
ensue.
You guys want to see everyone just go nuts, just fall in love with a team that is within picks 1 through maybe 10, and then just watch the lottery play out. You're talking about stress levels at an all-time high just for that span of 2 minutes.
Just imagine Pistons fans 2 years in a row having the worst record and getting pick 5.
Right.
The Hornets getting pick 6. That's wild to me. But you know what?
It just continues to fluctuate. Well, that's the whole
part of
purpose of the NBA lottery.
Yeah.
It's to take away tanking and make sure that the tankers don't always get what they want in terms of getting the number 1 overall pick or below that. So GM, let's go ahead and talk about it right now. Instant reaction. Look, I just set the baseline. I told the story straight up. We were together when it happened. Instant reactions right now in terms of the Houston Rockets. Jumping from number 9 to number 3, 20% chance that they were going to land in the top 4, and then the percentage decreased as it gets closer to the 1 position, which would have been, I think, at a 3 or 4% chance. So instant reactions right out of the gate.
Well, I mean, when we were watching it, it didn't really hit me because, we were guessing all the teams, obviously 14 through 10. Especially the 12th pick, because we were like, oh, watch it, Oklahoma City. It's going to be Oklahoma City. And, boom, there you go.
Right.
And then I forgot who it was after that. But then when it got to number 9 and we saw the Jazz drop from 7 to 9, it didn't really click because I was like, hold up, what?
Well,
and then we low-key heard
them
say that the Hawks and the Rockets jumped. And I was
like,
what? That's what it was.
Yeah,
like.
I didn't know how I still to this day don't understand how we were both attached that the Hawks and the Rockets jumped.
Yeah, and then we celebrated. It's like, what?
Well, I just wanted to
top
see
4 pick.
Dude, two teams got bumped. That's insane out of the top 4.
Yeah, and then Toronto had to give up their pick as well. And they wanted that pick. They started to egregiously drop games as the season progressed after they had traded OG Anunoby and Pascal Siakam.
Dude, we have never been more back than we are right now. You're talking a 41-41 season. Ime Udoka as the coach. Positive development of the talent.
Yeah.
Getting close to the playoffs. Snagging a number 3 pick, essentially a top 3 pick in the last, 3 or 4 seasons?
Yeah.
Essentially. That is insane. We are literally just getting better and better and better right now. And my instant reaction straight up is I was shocked. Did not expect the Houston Rockets to get into that position. Number 9, we were just chilling. I wasn't super nervous.
Cool.
I was just kind of
it's like we're gonna get a lottery pick.
I'm ready for this card to turn at number 9 and for the Rockets to get the number 9 pick. And then we can talk about, Reed Shepard possibly sliding into that 9 slot. I could talk about possibly trading that pick overall. But now I'm talking about what this team is and what they can do now with this number 3 pick overall, because now it creates the concept of possibly whether or not they're going to keep the pick.
Yeah.
Or they're going to trade the pick. Kelly Iko, Jonathan Fagan, all these guys are now talking about what they're going to do with this pick. Now, GM, I got to present this question over to you now. Are we keeping the pick, realistically? Or are we trading the pick? I have my concept on what I want to do, but I want to hear your word first. Do they keep the pick? Do they trade it?
I'm going to give it 65-35. The Rockets keep the pick. And I will tell you why. I don't believe that there are teams with viable stars that would accept the 3rd pick plus whomever the Rockets may deal for said star, quote unquote.
Right.
The availability of stars as well is extremely low. I mean, Trae Young,
Right.
DeJounte Murray, just those two from Atlanta that are potentially available, but why would they want to make another pick?
Right.
Unless they want to build through like Alex Sarr and Reed Shepard or whomever, you know what I mean? Like if that's what they were to do. But I just don't see, unless like something comes out of nowhere, like Paul George were to request, or Mikal Bridges does become available, and that does hop on the table where Brooklyn can get their pick back and potentially more. But that's pretty much like 2 things that I would see potentially. But I think that the Rockets do end up keeping the pick, even though I prefer to trade it. But obviously, that just depends on who's available. But I'm okay with who's available in the draft, especially at 3.
Right.
They're both areas in which that can help us the most in terms of a defensive big and shooting. So there's plenty of that at the 3. So
That's true.
Yeah.
I think for me, anyways, and the way I like to break it down is to whether or not they're going to trade the pick away or they're going to keep the pick is two reasons and basically 2 steps as to why the Rockets would even consider, or Stone consider, trading that pick. One, what players are available via trade? Is that a Brandon Ingram, whether or not it's a Paul George, or like a Mikal Bridges, or another role player, or a helpful role player veteran that can help the team? And point number 2, does Stone or Ime Udoka want these players? So it's not just about the players that are available. They need these 2 check marks to be crossed off. It's either the player that they want has to be available, A, and B, they have to want that player. So there have been 1,000 scenarios, I'm sure, for Stone and Ime Udoka where there's a player available that they don't want, or there's a player that they want that's not available.
Yeah.
That they've continually, spun this. They've continually spun this pendulum to figure out how they're going to get these guys. I'm sure they have a list. They have a list of dudes that I'm sure that they want.
Yeah.
So the chances of these players being available are probably pretty low unless they want someone like a Brandon Ingram, which rumblings are getting louder and louder that he might get traded. But in terms of what the track record that's been set before us and what Stones want, Stone has yet to make an impactful trade that doesn't involve acquiring draft stock. The one trade that he made that's made the most noise is ironically the pick that is the number 3 overall currently right now in our system, which was trading away James Harden, trading away the superstar, trading away the star. He has never acquired a star or has made a big enough trade to make a difference amongst this Rockets team his entire tenure here. He has to prove us wrong if he's gonna make this trade.
Fair.
He hasn't been.
But I mean, we
don't know.
We can honestly say
that's
that
the thing.
I don't think there's any team in the last like 5 to 7 years that has traded out of the number 3 overall pick.
Right.
So I mean, to me, it seems highly likely that we keep it. But like what I want to do is I want to give a shout out to James Harden for deciding to leave us and letting Stone play hardball to get these picks.
Shouts to James.
We didn't end up with Ben
Shouts
Simmons.
to James. You know what? We're gonna
LeVert.
put the ones up. We're gonna put the ones up. I'm telling you right now, when we got that number 3 pick, James, I just felt good. It just felt good.
I mean, we got Tari Eason with the last time we had a Brooklyn pick, and now we have the 3rd overall pick. So
That's
I feel
insane,
it's kind of crazy. And we
dude.
still have more pick swaps We still have another
two. I think we got 2 more pick swaps
and then one more.
plus a pick
One
from
more
Brooklyn.
protected
That
pick,
is
so.
insane. That means if the Rockets continually compete, get better, get a high seed, and Brooklyn continually stays kind of that in the abyss of the 7th to 12th or 13th pick, we're gonna consistently
Just
swap.
imagine next year if they
That's
end up
insane.
sucking and they end up getting the number 1 pick. It's ours.
And
welcome to Houston, Cooper Flag.
Wow. Don't play me. Don't play me. I love
I know
Cooper
you
Flag.
do. I know you're a big.
I
Cooper
will
Flag
move
guy.
heaven and earth to bring Cooper Flag back to Toyota Center. Back because he played in the McDonald's All-American games. GM, I don't know. I guess right now I would probably think that they would keep the pick. I don't think that there's any player. I don't think, realistically
so
speaking, right now, there's not a single player that they're going to want that's on that list that is available and is going to move the needle enough for them to want to acquire them. So maybe there is a player that they want, that is available that they don't want. Maybe they don't want Brandon Ingram. You know what I mean? Like, maybe they don't. Like, I don't know if they're going to kick the tires on that.
Yeah.
And I think for me, anyways, is that they're going to keep this pick. They're going to stand pat, make the trade for the BPA, the best player available, a la like the Astros with the Bregman and the Correa, and just make it work. Just fucking make it work.
I mean, that's kind of the status quo.
Right.
Best player available. Doesn't matter about fit. Make it happen. Make it work. And then
They've hit
evaluate.
And all these picks, to a degree, have hit so far. I
would
mean,
say no one's a major flop.
No one's
a
a major flop. And I'm telling you right now, if you're gonna call Jalen Green a flop, watch Michael Kidd-Gilchrist tape, and then you're gonna come back to me, okay? And let me know if he really is a flop. Or Adam Morrison, he was pick number 3.
Ooh. I want to talk about that.
So GM right now. So let's talk about whether or not. So the Houston Rockets, if they're gonna keep this pick as of now. That's when I love. This is what I love about the NBA draft. I love it when you're not anticipating a high pick, and then you get a high pick, and then you just basically feel better because of it. Now you can just run through the prospects.
You're playing with house money.
You're playing with house money. I love it.
Money.
If you have the top pick and you drop to 3 or 4, which has happened in the past couple of years for us, it fucking sucks. But when you start from 9 and go up, it's freaking legendary. And we've never been in this position, so I'm actually really, really excited and happy. So let's run through it right now, GM. Let's discuss our potential favorites. There hasn't been a lot of deep dives. We're literally 24 plus hours from when the lottery had happened.
Yeah.
So let's go preliminary. The mania before mania before mania.
The prelim.
Yeah, let's talk about it. So right now, GM, third pick. If the draft was tonight, who would be a Houston Rocket? Who would you want? Because there's a slew of players that will be available. And can I also entice you by saying, and the listeners and viewers by letting y'all know that this, since 2013, according to Woj, this is the most eps and flow non-locked NBA draft in terms of the top 5.
Yeah. It could be anybody.
2013.
Yeah.
It's been 11 seasons since we've seen this fluctuation. There's no clear number 1 pick as of right now. That is insane. Outside of maybe Alex Sarr, but there's still not.
Yeah, we don't know about that.
Maybe outside of Alex Sarr, and there's so much movement. So right now, who's the number 3 overall pick? Give me 2 players. I'm just curious.
2 players.
Give me 2 players right out of the gate.
I'm definitely going to say 2 guys that could definitely impact us in a multitude of ways. 1, Reed Shepard. Everyone is so enamored by shooting, and I can tell you now, I mean, the man shot over 50% from 3 in 4 attempts a game from Reed Shepard. I mean, shooting is a precedent. It's huge. It matters in this league. And having a guy like him around Alperen Şengün, a Jalen Green, Fred VanVleet, guys like that, even a Men Thompson, guys that are able to pass and find shooters, someone that can move, a movement shooter of it, like a JJ Redick type, or people compare him to Fred VanVleet, even Dante DiVincenzo, and those are names that I feel like a guy like Ime Udoka as coach would want on his team. The number 2 guy, Donovan Clingan. He's definitely someone that could potentially help this team at 7-2. He just helped UConn win their 2nd straight national championship. The man can defend. He's big, he's broad, and there's hope that he can improve his shooting. I mean, there are comparisons to Brook Lopez to this man, and the Rockets did want to bring in a Brook Lopez. So that's definitely someone that the team will look at. I feel like that those 2 guys will be guys that Raphael Stone, we'll take a close look at with Ime Udoka. And I feel like if they were to have to pick at 3, then one of those two, if they are available, will be one of the 2 picks, just based on what we see. I mean, as a guy that is a shooter, I'm buying into the Reed Shepard agenda, even though I do like Donovan Clingan. I am slowly buying in to that. I know that yesterday you said you didn't believe he's a 3rd pick. I mean, in this draft, he might be. In other drafts, probably not. But in a draft like now, he's definitely someone that could potentially be the 3rd pick.
That's the GM, the lover of Shepards, all the Shepards. Favorite movie, Above the Rim, like Thomas Shepard. He loves shepherd's pie.
I do love shepherd's pie.
We're Catholic. We're all shepherds.
That's a fair. I don't know. What a wild statement. Statement.
I can't veer from it for too long. I respect the takes.
Yeah.
I'm just not.
Just say you're gonna take, because we know.
No, it's not that. No. Okay, guys. So I don't want to.
If we're going upside.
So okay, we're gonna go pure upside here, ladies and gentlemen. I've been a big fan of his since last year. Love the guy. Love his attitude. I did cover him. Got to have a couple conversations. He's a good kid, good head on his shoulders. Modest Buzelis, straight up 3rd pick in my hand right now. It's Modest Buzelis. I literally tweeted this earlier today, and I did say Jonathan Giovanni talked about it during the Draft Express, watching his movement. Basically, I said, look, 5-tool player. He's got size, outside shooting ability. He has a good defensive mindset. He's a good playmaker with handles, with star potential. He is 6'11", teetering 6'11" to 7 feet. He is a forward. He's quicker than Jabari. Better handles than Jabari. Not as good of a jumper as Jabari.
Would you trade Jabari if we had a chance to get Modest?
There's no need to trade. So yeah, it's a pointless question. Why would I trade Jabari knowing that Modest is available at 3? GM, get it together. You're a GM.
Saying what if they can't fit,
No, if we were the number 9 pick, then we can ask
they could definitely play together.
I think they can legit play together, because it doesn't move Modest away from what makes him play well, which is he can handle the rock. It gives you a wing option of a player that can handle the rock.
Wouldn't Modest play at the 4, though?
Modest would play at the 4.
In the modern NBA,
That's the only hang-up here, is that Jabari and Modest are both essentially would slot into that 4 spot. But it's a nice problem to have. I would want
embarrassment of riches.
Yeah, and Modest Buzelis has a high star potential. So people aren't sold because of the not as consistent shooting ability, but I love all the other things he brings to the table. Like I said, in terms of baseball and a baseball prospect terms, he's a 5-tool player. You have to pick up the guy with 5-tool player talent in this NBA at that size. He's not 6'1", he's 6'11". He is the perfect created player for this time in this era to succeed in this current NBA. Now, my second one, if it's not Modest Buzelis, I hate, because you did say his name, and I don't want him at 3, but fuck, you need Reed Shepard. You need a shooter that we
are one of the worst shooting teams in the league.
If Modest Buzelis provides high upside talent, that's one thing. The other end of the spectrum, Reed Shepard provides an absolute fit, hand to glove, in terms of what he can bring to this team immediately out of the game.
I agree.
You plug Reed Shepard into this lineup. Now, granted, he's a point guard. He's 6'1", 6'2", and you can kind of work with him just in case, because who knows? Amen Thompson, I know we want Amen Thompson to be the point guard, but ain't it nice if you can plug Reed Shepard in if you end up releasing Fred VanVleet after next year? You have a Reed Shepard and an Amen Thompson kind of juggling that point guard duties, because he can also play make as well. There's so many options here, GM.
I do think that Reed will definitely be slotted more as a 2, but I mean, obviously, it's not to take away from Jalen.
Well, it'd be like DiVincenzo. I think that is essentially what he would be, like a shorter JJ Redick. DiVincenzo, he would be like an Alex Caruso.
Yeah, but before we go, can I mention just one more thing about Donovan Clingan and why
you can mention whatever you want, GM. This is our show.
Well, I mean, it's because of this. With all the teams left in the playoffs, everyone has a compatible big that can defend. Minnesota, Rudy Gobert, Jokic can defend. He's better now, correct? Yeah. Dallas has Daniel Gafford. And then who's the other team?
Bigs that can protect the rim.
Yes. And then
Right.
who's the other team I'm missing?
Minnesota?
Gobert.
Yeah, Gobert
So
in
that's
Minnesota.
Gobert in Minnesota. That's 4, correct? And then Hartenstein in New York, Miles Turner. You know, he's a better defender, even though that team does not defend.
Right.
And then
Bunch of pick and roll talent.
yeah, exactly. Cleveland has, they have Mobley, Jarrett Allen, but Mobley obviously he's been defending well. Oh, and Oklahoma City. I forgot Oklahoma City. Chet Holmgren, who's been defending very well as well.
Fucking
And then
killing
I
it.
don't know who the starting center is for Boston. Obviously, I'm not paying attention. But what I'm saying is that bigs are very crucial when it comes to playoff time, and bigs that can defend at a very high intensity and intelligence is needed in the playoffs. So that's all I'm saying. No offense to Şengün, but it's just mostly like the teams that are still in the playoffs. You see it.
Right.
It's hard to knock on that.
I
That's all I'm
can't,
saying.
man. Yeah, and I wouldn't be able to knock on it even if I honestly tried. The only thing I would say in regards to that is it's Şengün, but you're flanked by Steven Adams, man.
Yeah.
So
But we don't know if Steven Adams will stick. If we do get Klingon, we'll see.
well, that's
I
the
mean,
thing. Yeah,
who knows?
exactly.
There might
So,
be
but
something
that
bigger
kind
in
of
the
like,
picture.
well, that kind of like makes me think. Okay, I mean, I'm not saying we don't need Klingon. I'm not saying we don't, but you have already one of the most high upside offensive talents in the entire NBA in Alperen Şengün.
Yeah.
Flanked by one of the absolute best defensive centers in the entire NBA in Steven Adams.
Yeah.
That's a perfect combo right out of the gate to like be successful in like these stretch of games next year when you're expected to take the leap to not maybe even go beyond play-in, but to actually make the playoffs as like a 5 or 6 seed.
Yeah.
I think that's like a beautiful place to be at in terms of where you want to go. So the question is, do they want to go big despite and go with BPA, best player available, or do they go based on more like what do they have in regards to their needs? So that's the thing. Like, do you draft someone like a Klingon and have 3 centers?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I mean, that's definitely the issue.
Because Alpi
I
can't
see
play
it,
4. Like, let's be real. Alpi's not going to be the 4.
Yeah, because I feel like
he's not playing 4.
It's an embarrassment
Sorry.
of riches more so on the guard aspect because there's definitely guard
Right.
help. Backup point guard Reed Shepard can definitely do that, even though Amen Thompson is technically slotted there. Amen Thompson basically plays 1 through 4. But Reed Shepard gives you someone who's very solid, play off the ball as a point guard, and help along, a multitude of ways, even though I see him as a 2. But he will be defending the 1s, but he'll be slotted as a 1, but he plays more like a 2, if that makes sense.
I love the
And
idea,
the man averaged 2.3 steals a game in Kentucky.
Yeah, he was good. He was a great defensive stalwart.
He wasn't
for
a
that
great
Kentucky
defender
team.
man to man, but he was
Right.
a good team defender.
Great team
He's
defender.
very good at kind of sneaky
Sneaky
kinda coming
steals.
around, yeah.
Shot blocks, too. 42-inch vertical.
He's a
officially
hustler.
recorded.
He's a hustler. So
One of the most.
that's why he's endearing himself to the city of Houston already.
Yeah, I can literally feel like the fans will fall in love with him pretty instantly. I
For
feel like
sure.
Reed Shepard would like make himself like a big steal down the stretch. Oh, he
Mm-hmm.
would just get loved. I can already see it. But like, in terms of like embarrassment of riches, I think the need actually would be with a little bit more Modest Buzelis because of the wings.
Mm-hmm.
Think about it. You have Jabari Smith, you have Dylan Brooks, Jayshawn Tate, to a degree. His minutes waned as the season played on, which means that he wasn't really needed or necessary. Cam Whitmore, who was kind of a pseudo 3, he could play the 2 spot as well.
He's
So,
gonna
but
be more
there
so like a stretch
is
4.
no true like backup wing.
Yeah.
Now, I can tell you right now out of the gate, if Modest Buzelis gets drafted, he may not start game 1. He
Definitely
probably
not.
won't.
Definitely not.
But could you imagine having Modest Buzelis off the freaking bench?
He fired.
Holy crap.
He didn't play so hot for the G League, but I think that's just because of he was a product of the system that was broken.
He doesn't
in the G
need.
League.
He doesn't need to play well for the G League. Okay.
Yeah.
G League doesn't even exist anymore. I don't give a crap about the G League.
He has
G League
it's
Ignite. I don't give a
Ignite,
crap
yeah.
about the G League
I
Ignite.
mean, he has all the tools, and we see it. I
Right.
mean, I'm not blind to it. It's mostly of an upside thing, and I'm not opposed to upside either. It's just a matter of figuring out like what the kind of impact that this team is looking for. Obviously, BPA can be subjective based on potential or best player, like actual best. So I don't know.
They want best player available according to the reports anyway. So we'll see what happens there. Guys, a ton of things are going to fly through the rumor mill. We're going to take you there every step of the way. The iron is getting hot now, and they're in the off season. So
Oh, yeah.
we got the NBA draft coming up in the next month. We got free agency after that. A slew of trades can obviously go down. When the big news happens, we will be here in studio, or I will be at my own little studio, and we're always going to make sure that we're keeping up to date, and we're going to discuss it. GM, let's get ready to go home here. But before we do, we have to sing happy birthday to one Jabari Smith Jr., my son.
Yeah,
Happy birthday, my son.
Happy birthday,
Let's
Jabari.
go on a 5 and a 6 and a 7 and an 8. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Jabari Smith Jr., my son. Happy birthday to you.
Jeez. My man turned 21. He's legal.
Dude, he's freaking street legal. You love to see it.
He's able to, get himself some good margaritas in the city of Houston.
Jabari Smith
Legally.
Jr., if you're ever back in Houston, you let me know. I will buy you a drink. On me, my son. Because you freaking earned it. And
Father's
you are
Day
legal.
is coming up soon, man.
Father's Day is coming up soon, and I would love to take my son out for a drink. Happy birthday to Jabari Smith Jr.
Dead.
When you start singing, you know what? When we get to these days during birthdays, like during the week, we should start singing happy birthdays to any like the team members.
Sure.
I'd be down to do that.
Why
Yeah.
not?
Let's make that a thing. I don't think anyone else does that. I don't think any other show does that. Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah.
We should start doing that.
Yeah.
Let's get ready to go home here. Thank you once again to everybody that has joined us once again on the summit for this episode 217, I think, off the top of my head.
I have no
Episodes
idea.
in as we're continuing the climb to 300.
No clue.
Slowly but surely. Let's get ready to go home here. GM, give the people what they want. One time, oos.
Everyone, make sure to subscribe to us on YouTube so you can catch some of our podcasts. We got Play Action Takes, our NFL podcast, and Zero Gravity, hosted by Stoney and Josh Garcia, what did the Rockets do today edition writer, my man. NBA playoffs in full swing, full entertainment. They got you forwards and backwards in all NBA playoffs. But just make sure to follow all of us. Follow me on Twitter at JP_Mirabueno. Follow the podcast on Twitter and was it TikTok at Summit SOMPOD, on Instagram at Summit State of Mind _POD, and make sure to follow our people, our brothers, our team at Apollo NBA and at Apollo HOU.
You can also follow me on Twitter as well at Summit Commish. Shout out to our Apollo podcast brethren that continue to kill the game. That's right. You can be sure to follow BTD, Beyond the Diamond, the Crown Jewel of Astros podcast. Be sure to give them your first listen for all Houston Astros content. Shout outs to Off the Gridiron. That's right. Apollo Texans. Be sure to give them your first listen for all Houston Texans content. And we appreciate each and every one of y'all for making us your first listen for all Houston Rockets content. GM, let's get ready to go home here. I'm feeling good with that number 3 overall pick.
Me too.
Things are looking so freaking good. We have never been more back than we are right now.
We are so fucking back.
We are so fucking back. Let's get ready to go home here. As I'm going to say what I always say and go Summit, go Apollo. And that's right. It ain't the first pick. It ain't the second, but it's the third goddamn pick in the 2024 NBA draft. Go Rockets. GM, say the thing.
Yeet.
Yeet. I was going to wink and I forgot.